Welcome back or welcome to the Time Crunch Cyclist podcast. I'm your host, Coach Adam Pulford. We have some great audience questions pouring in from everyone listening here. So truly, I want to thank you all for all the questions, for tuning into the show, and for rating and reviewing us. Those reviews are ticking up a bit each week, and that's the best way for other endurance athletes to find our show. For those first timers joining us today, our goal here on the podcast is to take some complex training topics and questions and deliver it to you in a short, concise manner each week so that you can apply it to your training right away. Anyone can submit a training question online, and you can do that on our website over at trainright.com/podcast. Click on the button there that says ask a training question, and those get sent directly to me, and I answer them here on the show, like I'm about to do right now. So here is the question for today. Adam, big fan of the show. Awesome. Thank you. This is coming from Ben. Actually, Ben in Maryland. So he says, this is my question. It has a little background here. So I'm a 47-year-old master's cyclist scheduled to attend an intensive 3-week executive program in late May. I suspect my time available to train will be extremely limited. If I'm able to squeeze in 2 to 4 hours per week, likely limited amounts of training times per day, what is the best way to maintain relatively high level of fitness? So some context, 47-year-old male cyclist, raced when younger. It took an extended break, completely off the bike while growing a company and family, sold the company, retired, and now I've been riding 15 to 20 hours per week ever since. While I'm nowhere near as strong as I used to be, my weight, which has peaked at 230 during my time off the bike and has come down to 180. Congratulations on that, Ben, by the way. That's some really good weight loss. My power is finally starting to come back a bit. When I quit riding, my FTP was somewhere around 4.8 watts per kilo, and today it's around 3.85 watts per kilo. Getting back in shape in the late 40s has been challenging, so I'm desperate to avoid taking a huge step back during my business school adventure. Would love to hear your thoughts and your advice. Thanks again. Love the show, Ben. All right, Ben. So my short answer on that is frequency of exercise or short rides many of the days while you're there, that will maintain whatever fitness you have going into the event. So just on a very high level conceptual, just think about banging out quick 1-hour rides, maybe 3-4 days a week. If you have 4 hours at most each week, take a couple rest days and then repeat that. That's really the best advice I can give you, because frequency of exercise helps to maintain. It's not going to build like you have been doing at home. And so let's get into maybe why that is. Okay. So to build back to a higher power to weight ratio and overall fitness, that definitely takes time. And it sounds like you're on that journey right now, Ben. And I work with many professional people, those in tech, those running corporations, and people who may have to go live in person, kind of like you're going to be doing here for a week or more before they come back to some work from home situations. The key is to maximize the training time when you're home, right? And build that aerobic engine, build your FTP, and get creative with some of those long ride days while you're home, right? But then when you're away, what you want to do is maintain good habits, maintain good sleep habits, maintain good training habits. And that is what's going to help link that time while you're away back to your training at home. And so, you're on this journey. I know it's taking longer than you want it to be, but stay the course, be patient, because it will pay off for sure. I mean, you've already dropped significant amount of weight, which is super awesome to see. And the power to weight ratio, that'll come back up too. Okay. But it definitely takes time. The older we get too, it takes time to adapt to that training. So you're definitely on a good road. Stay the course. Now, the reason I suggest frequency and What I'm also going to suggest is intensity of actually only zone 2 or zone 3. Okay, so endurance and tempo are really good intensities for this time away. When you're short on time, you want to maintain. And the reason why those are good intensities to target is that it hits your aerobic system, it hits like low threshold, but or high aerobic, and you'll get sweaty. You'll get a good workout in. You'll have some of those good sensations and those endorphins going on when you hit your workout. But it's not going to wreck you. It's not going to cause too much fatigue, especially if you have long conference days or you need to be sharp while giving a presentation or something like that. So, a good tried and true workout is a 3x10 at tempo, and that's a perceived effort of 6 or 7 out of 10. Okay, it's somewhere between 80 and 90% FTP power. I'm guessing that you probably won't have a power meter while you're there, but the perceived effort is really what to focus on. You can shorten the recovery time here, because it sounds like you have a decent level of fitness already. So play around with shorter recovery periods, 3 to 4 minutes, maybe even 2 to 3 minutes, just enough to kind of clear the legs out and then carry on. Because again, you're short on time, so just try to get it in as best you can. Now, another kind of simple workout for this, and this is actually what I like doing when I have these blocks of, I just have 60 minutes and I need to get it in. Warm up, go up to tempo, that perceived effort of 6 or 7, and just, like go steady, maybe give a couple of surges once in a while, but you're not even taking a recovery period. You're just, warming up for 10, 15 minutes and then going for 30, 40 minutes and then cooling down for 5 minutes. What I find is that helps to work on extensive aerobic power production or extensive aerobic pacing, which is something that we normally don't get unless we're riding inside or being really intentional about not taking recovery periods or just kind of like going long. So it really builds that kind of like sticky tempo ability, which will pertain or kind of dovetail into increasing your TTE or time to exhaustion, which I talk about on the show in previous episodes. So, yeah, that's my best advice there, Ben, is when you're super short on time like that, target zone 2, zone 3, minimize recovery periods as best you can. And, look to do that 2 or 3 days in a row because like I said before, you want to choose these intensities that aren't going to leave you overly fatigued so that you can keep on doing training or doing sessions kind of every day to help with maintaining fitness and also just maintaining some sanity, right? Because exercise does definitely help with that. So in summary, loss of fitness due to work, family, life, that's a common story in an athlete's journey. And we all just have to accept it because underneath all that is, all that years of building, a business and building a family and stuff like that. Underneath all that, there's still an athlete, right? Everybody's an athlete. And so be patient as you're building that athlete back. Okay. Base build time period. It takes the longest, but if you do it right, it'll be with you forever. Right. But do a good job with that, establish good habits and good fitness, just like it sounds like you're doing, Ben. And then from there, as we get these goofy little streaks where you got to be away from training and bike and kind of the higher volume time periods, I typically find that, just keep the frequency, keep good habits there, and zone 2 to 3 intensities are a great way to do that without adding too much fatigue. And you can kind of keep on going back at it every day to really maintain the gains that you've made thus far. So again, Ben, thanks for tuning into the show, being a fan of the Time Crunched Cyclist podcast. We'll get into some deeper dives here coming in the weeks ahead, so stay tuned for that. But for now, keep on submitting questions because that's good fodder for future podcasts too.